I'm here with my client, Gene Jones, and we've had a great time working on his book. Gene, why don't you start out by telling them a couple sentences about your career?
Well, it's hard to sum it up in a couple of sentences, but a while ago I was the associate editor of the Guinness Book of World Records. More recently, I've been a game show host. I hosted a game show that I invented and toured it all over the country for about 30 years. And while I was doing the game show, I used to always like to ask questions about famous quotes, which led me to one day say, I have so many of these great quotes, I should organize it into a book. And that's when you and I met.
What does this book mean for you in terms of legacy?
Well, I never think in terms of legacy. I think more in terms of how much good can I do in the world while I'm around. And this book is such a collection of great wisdom. By the way, the name of the book is Consolidated Wisdom. And I really accumulated the greatest quotes of the last 5,000 years. And then with your help, put it into categories that makes it very easy for people to access whatever subject they're interested in.
What other impacts beyond benefit to the reader came out as a result of the book?
Well, it did kind of establish me as a somewhat expert on wisdom. I don't believe that anyone's really an expert on wisdom. I think you're always a student of the subject because there's always so much more to learn and more to understand. But that it's been helpful in terms of finding clients that want me to help them with creativity coaching as well.
And you mentioned that you're starting a coaching business. Talk a little bit about how the book will be helpful in that.
Well, it's something I've been doing for years, only I've changed the focus of it. I used to do the coaching based on my trivia game show. I had something called Triviation, where I used the actual trivia game show in very focused ways as a kind of way to coach people and also to coach corporations and do team building. And now it's more individually oriented that individuals who read the book or who don't read the book actually can come to me for coaching on creativity with their lives. It doesn't have to be artistic creativity. And that's where I like to differentiate when I talk to most people who say, oh, I'm not really that creative. I say, well, everyone has the potential to be creative in solving their own life problems and, going after their own challenges. And that's where this kind of creativity coaching is most useful.
How is the book impactful in your coaching?
Well, I think it just gives me a little bit of credence in that people can see that I've really accumulated a lot of information and a lot of wisdom on the subject because creativity is one of the focused subjects in the book.
What were the biggest challenges early on in the process?
Well, my biggest problem was really that I had too much information and I didn't know how to organize it. And I have to give you a lot of credit. You looked at the project and told me it needed to be shortened, and you gave me all kinds of tips on how to organize it in a better way, which really got me started to getting the book produced. You also recommended me to some really excellent people that helped me produce the book.
What was the most helpful part of our coaching sessions?
Well, first of all, you listen really well. And I think that was really important. Second of all, it was very obvious that when I sent you samples of the book, that you really took it to heart and you really studied it. You didn't just give me kind of a off the cuff answer. You had really looked my book over, you had really thought about it, and you really came up with some good ideas on how to organize the book. And with a book that has so much information like mine, over 1,500 different quotes. Organization really was the most important missing aspect when I came to you.
And what about the written feedback? What was most helpful about that?
Well, that was all part of the overall gestalt of your approach. Your what you wrote kind of went along with everything you said to form a very strong kind of mindset that really got me thinking. And I think I'll say this: it didn't just help me in organizing this one book. I think forever in the future, and I'm putting together another book right now, I'll always be better at organizing any book that I write because of the advice you gave me.
I think you were saying before that there are a couple readers of your book that talked to you or emailed you. Tell me a little bit about impact on your readers.
Well, reader feedback, I think, is really important, and you have to take it with a grain of salt if it's negative, and you also can't get too excited when it's positive. But I do have to say that the people that have reached out to me that have read the book and or looked it over for a while, it's been so overwhelmingly positive. It makes me feel really good. And in fact, many of those people actually ordered more copies to give out to friends and their children in college and all sorts of other people that they thought it would be good for. And the reviews on Amazon from the press as well as from the readership has also been very positive. So I'm really very thankful to you, Simon, for getting me started, because I don't think this project ever would have come to fruition if it hadn't been for your really good advice.
So we talked about impact in terms of your readers, in terms of authority. Any other impacts that you see as a result of this book?
I'm always hopeful that good things may happen, but I think you can be proud of the fact that you're part of helping a book to come to fruition that's doing good in the general public.
And how do you think the book might have turned out without getting help?
I don't know if it would have turned out. I think I would have still probably been trying to figure out how to organize it.
Well, good to see how much impact the book is having, and great to hear that you're doing more and more books. And let's keep in touch. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.